お疲れ様です。山田です。よろしくお願いします。オシリスの頂上決戦の 60GTVS PX34 決勝2回戦です。決勝の1回戦、前回ね、見たんですけれども、過去の山田がね、私じゃありません。過去の山田がね、実況してはったんですけど、まあね、60GT が圧勝で、もうケチョンケチョンのもうほんまにもう棺の戦いがもう強すぎて60がマジでもう勝てる気せんなみたいなねそれをちょっと今回もまあ見れるんじゃないかなってところでね、迫力満点の戦いなんでぜひとも、もう皆さんと一緒に見ていきたいなと思います。よろしくお願いします。さてともう48分で、もう今から準備してますから、いや、マジ今回はほんまに、もう取りに行くから、絶対、絶対取りに行くからな、俺はもう。この権限を、我のものに。ここで待っとかんでいいかね。時間になった瞬間、こう入って、ここボタン、ここの観戦ボタンを押して、で、右側のボタンを押すと。よし、もうシミュレーション完璧よ。うん。しばらくここの画面にいて、で、ここのカウントダウンが、まあ、そうだな。残り、まあ3秒とかになったら戻るでしょ。で、向かうをすぐ押して、観戦ボタンを押して、右の200、その右の中がもう一回ボタン、多分あるからボタンが。それを押してもう行くぞ。絶対に、俺は200人の1人になるんだ。もうあれかな、予約入ってんのかな、200人の席の。だとしたらもう、泣くよ、俺は。そろそろ泣くよ。チャンネルも焼かれて、悲しんでるところで、そんな、もう俺は頑張って入ろうとしてる一方で、いやもうそもそもそんなことは無理やったんや、みたいな、そんなオチね。もう200人っていうのはもうなんか VIP プレイヤーみたいな人たちが、もう牛耳ってて、はい、もう見れませんみたいなね。もうそんなんされたら泣くよ、俺は。はい。そんな感じです。まあ、まだ10分ぐらいあるんですよね、時間が。明日仕事やな。オリンピア一回できる？ダメダメダメダメ。絶対ダメです。バカ類星。いや、バンジン狩りでもするか。あ、そういえば移転してきたよね。ここに。なんかさ、みんななんか真ん中に、やっぱちゃんと端っこに移転、これもするんや。するん、するんやな。なんかめっちゃ空気読めへん人みたいになってんのよね。ごめんなさいね。ちょっと俺も集結かけてみようかな、たまには。誰か入ってくれるかな？誰かかけてるかな？かけてないね。いやー、ここはちょっと行っちゃおう。あ、すごいいっぱいなんか作ってる人いるけど、もう今移転してきてもね、あんま良くないんだよな。12の集落がいいよね。もう、あった、あるやん。これかけれんちゃうの俺。なあ、いけんちゃうのこれ。
Queen by title, but in deeds a king.
ウェイウェイウェイウェイ。さあ、山田君の12のチャレンジです。今回の KVK 初めてですね。さあ、参加してくれる人はいるのでしょうか。200人マックスくらい集まらん限りは出発しない方がいいよね。なんかもうほんとね、負けると全然入ってくれなくなるんですよね。皆さんもうあいつんとこ入ると負けるからやめた方がいいよみたいなって、やばい、喉乾いてきた。もうこれちょっとお茶行くしかないな。お茶休憩行くしかないな。時間間に合うか。今何分ですか。あともう流暢になんかもうそんなちんたらやってられないから、もう本当に厳粛にやってからもう大丈夫か。まあ 6分もあれは大丈夫やろな、多分な。ちょっと行ってくるか。お茶くださいっつって行って回るでござる。よいしょ。さあ、そろそろ始まりますか。あと4分。オーケー、間に合った。あずきバー食べます。ちょっと待って、これ集結ちゃんとさ見とかんとやばいな、これ思ったけど。これ今何人ぐらいいるんですか。やっぱ足りないな、これは。まずいです。100人は足りません。どうしましょうか。100人じゃやばいな。ちょっとそろそろ時間だしな。ワンチャンかける。いや、今年俺ついてないしな。お、 これ見るここでなった。迷うなこれ。どうしよう。あ、もう始まるし。タイミング悪かったな、これかけたの。あ、また来た。これは勝てそうだな。こん中おったら。信じよう。決めた。信じるわ。さあ、もうちょっとで始まるよ、もうこれ。あー、頼むわ。ちょっと音量上げる。マイクの感度上げます。5で仕上げました。あ、もう始まる。やばい。あと45秒。ちょっともう夜中になってくるんで、ちょっとこう声量をね落としていきますんで。やばい。来るぞ。運命の瞬間が。3、2、1。いやいやいやいや。いやいやいや。いやいやいやいやいやいや。おかしいやん、どう考えても。ああ、もう無理やん、これ。今もう、いけたやろ、今のは。まだ214人とかなってるやろ、ほんで。しゃあない。
60GT again in blue,
無理
PX
だった。
in red. The key combatants on the screen as we make our way through these introductory scenes, highlighting a few of the top combatants on both teams. I mean, if the folks in red can't find their victory today,
これは悲
that
しいよ。
means the series will go to the team in
こん
blue,
にちは。
60GT. And
こんにちは。
interesting. Little bit of a hiccup here in the key combatants being listed. Happens to the best of us. Here we go. The look at the Grand Temple here. The road to the championship. 60GT
前
on
回これやね。
quite the spree of wins against some top
も
tier
うボロ負けやからね。
JST, Watch It Burn, and more. Also, PX34 had quite the spree as well until they met 60GT. So, will 60GT be their vice?
勝ってくれんかな、PX34。
Unable to beat in 1 minute and 20 seconds. The fireworks, the matchup, it begins. And I will say I learned just before this matchup started here that either way, the third game is going to be played. So, Dragothian, I hope that the team in red
バンリューとか
pulls
わか
a
ったん
heck
で
of
す
a
か？
comeback. They try some
Yeah.
new moves here and get the victory so that third matchup is super hyped.
Yeah, for sure.
you don't want to. We're objective observers, right? But I think from an entertainment standpoint, we certainly would love to see this third match next week be the deciding factor. We may see the champion be crowned today, and if that's the case, kudos to 60GT for basically dominating the grand finals. But PX34 has every opportunity here. I think that they've got a lot of things that they knew they needed to address. They saw what happened to them last week, and I think they can make some adjustments to basically make this a solid match. Last week, they lost by about 20,000 points, which is a large margin, especially in the endgame top tier.
10万以上しかいないだろうね、もう。
But again, those small adjustments that need to be made on both sides, really. Hopefully, PX34 has done their homework, and we're looking forward to seeing a really solid match from both teams here as we start to count down.
8000万以上しかわかんない
Here
よ
it is. The match begins. Let's see what rallies are set as the start as some fast-moving calves make their way out the gate. We would expect at least 8 rallies, 4 on each of the obelisks, and that's the case. Are they going to do anything cute or fancy? I guess you can decide whether it's cute or fancy here to rally some
まあ
outposts.
序盤はね
Like, I don't know if they're going to do that. It doesn't look like they're going to rally the outposts. So I think they've decided it's more of a cute play than an efficient play to rally an enemy outpost. And these buildings are worth a moderate amount of points here, 30 points per minute. And I know, Dragothian, you were advocating last week that the way we should be thinking about these is a collection of 3. They're worth 90 points per minute. So you really ought to be thinking about these structures, the 3 outposts on each side.
Yeah, exactly.
暗夜の方が
And
前哨者早いですね
surprised to see that neither team really doing that initial rally. Like we've seen a lot of the teams in the past, I want to say a month or so, really focus on attacking these outposts right from the outset, sending some rallies their way. We all know that they only have a 500,000 troop capacity on those rallies because the garrison can only hold 500,000. But again, if you can control 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 of those outposts, that's a major difference. And maybe last week, I know that 60GT had done a great job of really managing those 3 outposts on the PX34 side. Maybe it would have been a 15,000 point victory for them instead of a 20,000 point victory. But whenever it's really close, hopefully this match is. We are looking to maybe see that 5,000 points make a massive difference. I'm curious why they have not done that this time. Why both teams have decided to forego that and go back to the tried and true. Let's rally every obelisk in the game and let's just bash ourselves at the desert altars on both sides.
Interesting point here about the obelisks is that
ちょっと遅れておりますな
PX34 was blazing out the gate. They got the obelisk
ほぼ
first, but now they're also the
誤差でし
slowest
ょう
to get the
けれども
final obelisk. So it's definitely a balanced opening here for these teams, with the exception perhaps of some outposts being missed at the start here. And there we go. Okay, PX34 now closing the gap with those structures. They're going to get that ticking. It is
そう
80
前
points
哨
for the
中
first
前哨長ちょっ
occupation
と
and
遅れ
then
てる
30
ね
points per minute
34が
for the rest of the matchup where they have the structure. And I'll call out the fact that I don't think either side has used hard.
なんでマジで呪われてるやんもう俺の配信呪われてるこれ見れへんくなるパターンちゃうのこれ大丈夫
Not too worried
Mireta.
about getting my own structure, and we'll see how true that is or isn't. For the altars, in
つ
just
な
a
がりませ
moment,
んみ
as
たいにな
we
って
see
ね見れなくなる
60GT making a
あ
beeline
ラリーじゃない
a desert altar over here for the team in red, and I would expect a mirror play. Yup, that's happening. We see PX34 making a play for the
Rally
altar as
来てる
well, as we see some of these rallies
来
start
て
to
る
roll down.
カウのラリー
screen.
か
Dragothian, what are your thoughts around their saving these points?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that neither side used hard push. Now, hard push is one of those things where if both sides do the same thing, it's kind of a washout, right? Like the hard push not only does reduce that capture time, but it also gives your rallies a movement speed bonus.
改善
And
しました
that's
ね
really a big part of the strategy
移動の
when
ための
teams use that right off the bat because
ラリーであっ
they
た
would
と
get down the field faster with their rallies and maybe ninja
あ
capture
これまたラリ
one
ー
of the opposing team's obelisks. But I see a lot of infantry rallies going out, especially
スルーした。
Guan and
Yeah.
Alex
ぶ
led
つかった
rallies, and I think that's to
ヤドビ
transport
か
their
こう
troops farther down the
武田
field, and really, I think also transport those
うわ
Zenobia
降雨
generals
めっ
who are
ちゃ多
possibly
い
as well. A little bit
Spot
faster
on.
movement speed. So,
60降雨めっ
yeah,
ち
I
ゃおる
think the strategy-wise, again,
もう
you
関羽
you
と
nailed it.
降
You
雨し
wanna
かお
have
ら
those
へ
extra
んの
points
ち
in
ゃ
the
っ
middle.
てぐらい
The more
関
points you
羽
have in
と
the
降
middle,
雨
the
とエ
more
セ
points
ル
you have in the middle, and
関
the
羽
bigger
と
piece
降雨
of
とエ
points
セ
you
ルしかおら
control.
んのちゃうんっていう
That's
ぐらい
really going to give your advantage
あエ
to
ド
your
ワードおっ
team
たけ
if
ど
you have that extra buff layer.
で
And
も
both of them
降
do
雨
it,
い
so
すぎや
we'll
ろ
see if
ま
that helps
あ
out anybody that
34
they
も
decide to save even further this time
34
of things.
も同じか
Yeah, I mean, I
言
think
う
it's
て
extremely strategic. I mean, I
コ
can
ー・ウ
tell
ィリア
you,
ムが
although my team was eliminated
多
in
発
Arc,
してるような
we
気
did have
が
a plan around whether or not we would activate hard push.
コー・ウィリアム
depending
や
on
なこ
what
れ
the
全
enemy
ほ
team
ぼ
was
ほぼ
doing.
全部
Because you're right.
フ
The
ンアーが
enemy
見えるから
team with an
フ
appropriate
ンアーの
rally
スキルがね
activates
結構
hard
ね
push.
特
They can
殊特
capture
殊
your
っていうか
allies. And if you don't also
わかりや
activate
すい
hard
から
push, they can get the first capture. It's a
絵
super
面的に
real threat. But on the topic of first captures, it looks like the folks from PX34 were way too far south of the altar to be able to contest it at the start, whereas
はは
it
ん
looks like, ooh boy, 60 GT has planted their Zenobia into the altar, and that is a huge problem for PX34. Zenobia is chilling in that altar, and sure, she's taking damage. It's got to get
もうだいぶ
swarmed,
押
but
され
this is
てん
going
な
to
い
be
きなり
pretty costly
34
to the marches
開
and
幕か
their
ら
health
これ取られ
for
て
a
んだね
mid-fight. I mean,
ここね
this
今
is
画
a
面に映ってる
very
建物は
strong play here, and I'll say, gosh, if
60
only they had
に取られて
activated
ます
hard
ね
push,
これ
they'd
は
only need to hold
自
this
陣の
structure
も
for
のな
another
んだけ
minute
れど
and
も
10 seconds, and they'd get the first capture points. I don't think they'll be
あ
able to do this for another 2
もう一個行かれて
minutes.
んなあれ
No, not at all. I mean, it looks like it's
戦
about
火
to go
戦
down
火だ
now,
っ
and
け
PX34 is absolutely
自
surrounded.
陣
That
にある
started
戦
to
火
break
が
into delay. Does have some
行か
value there.
行かれてる
60 GT going back with sad faces, but PX34 is
あ
going to be
吹き
delayed
飛ば
in
したね今
capturing theirs, and they didn't
あ
use
奪い取
hard
った
push
奪い取っ
too,
た
so it's going to take them 3 minutes
で
to
も
just
左
take
か
back
そうここもね
from,
取られて
you
る
know,
と
being able to generate points. And while they were
Oh,
doing that,
wow.
you know, 60 GT took the Shrine of Life at the
Oh,
bottom as
wow.
well.
Yeah. So it's 150 points per minute for the altar. So that was delayed by a minute at the altar. So that's 150 points that they took there. And then 400 points for the first occupation at this Shrine of Life, plus the points per minute. I mean, the incremental advantage obtained by 60 GT here is super real.
Very much so. And I was curious to see those the
なかなか
marches
取り
of the
返せそう
Shrine
に
to
ない
snag
です
that
ねこ
Shrine
れ
of Life back from
結構いっぱいあ
60 GT.
こっちに人
It
数
was
かけてっ
Coach
て
Jadwiga's trying to take that Shrine of Life
ああ
back.
もうこれ
I was
多分
curious as to why
棺に
that was the case.
集まっ
But
てる
PX34 has
感
their
じ
desert altar.
し
That's
ます
the
ね
biggest one. So I mean, I think that they are a little bit behind on the back foot,
34
just a smidge, but nothing that can't be overcome with some solid middle play. And I think the middle play here, coming up in the next 5 minutes, is really what's going to start to dictate the tempo and the character of this match.
あ
Yeah.
あ
You
あ
can
でも
see it
あ言っ
5
てなかっ
minutes
たけ
to
ど
arc,
赤
and
色が
everybody's like,
赤色が
okay,
34 で
time to
す
go to the middle.
青色
And
が
that's what I was saying
60 で
earlier
す
about how costly it was going to be to try to swarm back that structure. You can see a bunch of
34
marches going
集まって
mid
きました
for PX34 that are
こんばんは
half health. I mean, that's rough. There's not enough time to go all the way back to your city and to the middle. I guess that's the call that they're making there. But that means that you're taking a mid fight with marches that are not where they need to be. I mean, we saw that PX34 last week was losing the mid fights pretty heavily. So to come into this fight with
Ah,
weak
来たね。
marches is
60も
not optimal.
はあいや
I will-
楽し
I
い
will
楽し
say too, I
い
do see, and
時
this
間
is
が
probably
近づい
in
て
support
きま
of
し
the
た
rally, but on the bottom lane,
棺の戦いが一番これもう60がまたこれえげつねえ力を発揮するのかっていうところで楽しみやな
is starting to come together for 60 GT
どっちにベットしま
alongside
した
of
か
trying to show a good I mean look at
34です
coming to the middle for
PX34 にフルベッド
Get there quickly enough.
3000ぐらい
I
Yeah.
think that will help them out quite a bit.
I just find this really confusing. Personally, I find this confusing. Are they going for arcs or not? And if they're going
こ
for
こは
arcs,
囲んで
I
囲んで
truly
連携が
don't
取れてるような
understand what it is that they think they're accomplishing with these
感じ
marches
しま
that
す
are not in the center. Because it's just making it even easier to own the center, to have this many marches in sort of the wrong place. And I say wrong because yeah,
Oh.
they're field fighting. I mean, why would you field fight in the grand finals. Like people are going to use healing speed ups if they
ウ
need
ィリアム
healing
だ
speed
な。
ups, so that's not an
後ろはやっぱり。
objective.
ああ、もうウィリア
I
ム
mean,
だ
this
ら
is
けだな、
just
後
a
ろ。
large number of marches that are now low health and can't go to the
向
middle.
こうウィリア
And
ム
I'm
が
not
横行
trying
しと
to
るわ。
obsess about one
マ
part
ジ
of the
で。
battlefield, but I don't understand that strategy personally. Now, look, to be fair, neither Dragothian nor I made it as far as these teams have.
さ
So
あ、来
maybe
ま
there's
し
some
たよ。
secret sauce that I don't know about, but
建物を取り返
I,
す
having
前
experienced
に
that
始まってし
really
まい
tough
そうですね、これ。
mid-fight
左下の
several
建
times
物が。
last week, I would
あ
think
あ、
they'd be
取られ
trying
て
to
るん
send
だよな、ま
everything
だ
they had
な
to the middle.
取り返せないかな、あ
Well,
れ。
I just don't know what these marches are doing.
Well, I mean, I will say they did cancel the rally that was on that structure, so I
あ
think
と
that,
何分ですか
ultimately
2
that's probably
分
what they're doing. I don't know if that was maybe a head
35
fake
秒。
move, but that was 8 armies that could have
お
been
お、
in the middle
早いね、
that
集
are
まって
not
くる
there
の。
and they're going back to their
Yeah.
ああ、
their
これ
cities
は
with sad
60じゃな
faces.
くて
Now, again, I
34
think
が多いですね。
PX34 is going all out. I mean, look at both of these teams here just
あ、めっちゃ、
pouring
ああ、でもやば、
every
あ
troop they
来てる
possibly
来てる、
can.
も
The
うめっ
unfortunate
ちゃ来て
thing
る、
for
34も
PX34
来
is
てる
they
わ。
still don't
じゃあ、
have their
60
final
も
life
来てる
back
わ。
on the bottom lane, although it does look like
両者
eventually
とも
it
に
will go
いい
down, but
感
it
じ
might
の
still not be enough
人数が揃ってきました。
to
あ、
be
ここ
taken
は
by
なん
the
だ
one
単
army
体
that's
で、
trying to beat
単
the
体で
maybe
取り返そうとしてい
300,000
る。
troops that are still left in that Shrine of Life from 60 GT. They got
ち
the
ょっ
first
と
occupation
難
score,
しそうだ。
and they've held it for quite some time. We're talking 6-7 minutes
お
that
ー。
they've had this. And that does, again, pay
これは
dividends.
ね、
Our
3、 4
GT
の方
score
が
right
多
now,
いように見え
5100
て、
compared to 700. That's
際
already
どいですよ。
Half an
固まり具合が、
Half an arc worth of points.
PX34 needs these,
多分ね、
this
60 の
arc
方が
just
ちっ
to
ちゃ
keep
く
up.
固まれてる
Yeah,
んです
I
よ。
mean that opener
青
is
色の
really
60の方が。
quite
なの
difficult
で、
for
34のボールの方
PX34
が強そう。
to be now fighting half an
な
arc
の
worth of points
で、
down. Now this
ちょっ
also
とこれもう
I mean,
ほぼ
look,
人
the
数は
duration
一
of
緒
war
ぐらいだと
zones
思って
is
もらっ
actually
たら、あ、い
very
ったいったい
long.
ったいった。
So
仕掛け
they're
た。
activating
3、
it. I
4。
actually am good
赤
with
の
that
3、
play.
4が
War drums
仕掛けていっ
and
た。
also mystical formation. I'm actually okay with their
さあ、
activating it. It looks
今
like it's
回
already
一
because it
発
lasts
目
so
の
long. This mid fight's going to be over by
棺
the
で
time
す
those
けれ
buffs
ども
expire.
ね、
So you
ど
may
う
as
な
well
るんでしょうか。
actually enjoy
こ
the
う、
full
こう、
duration
こ
of those buffs. That fight
う。こ
happening
うが多い、
now at
こ
the
うだら
temple.
けだ。
1 minute and 10 seconds till the first arc.
8割ぐらいこう、それ言い過ぎか。
Figure
そ
out
れ言い過ぎ
how
か。
to win a mid fight against 60
エセル
GT.
も多いね。
That
思
is
っ
the
たより
question
ね。
that is unfolding on our screen right now.
アルテ
Yeah,
ミ
it's
シ
looking
アと
pretty
カー
even
ム
so
と
far, at least from what I can tell from the armies that are
感じ
leaving
か。
the scrum being
弓マ
killed.
ジでおらんな。
I will also
まあ
say,
弓ほぼおら
we
ん
were
わ。
talking about earlier in the game, holding back hard push to
カーン
cast
レ
these
オニ
extra
ダス
skills
か。
in
カ
the
ー
middle.
ンレオニダス。
I've only seen the two skills from
カー
both
ンは
teams
もう
be
レオニダ
used
ス
so
後
far.
ろ
I
固
don't
定かな。
see anything extra. They could have done both of those skills and
わ
had
からない
hard
けれ
push
ども。
done at the beginning and
い
still
や、
have
ちょっ
enough,
となん
you know,
か青
going
が
into
方
the
が
next
残ってき
middle
てない？
fight for, you know,
ああ、やっ
having
ぱ
fight,
ね、この
you know, to the death
敗
or,
北してい
you
く
know,
部
having
隊を
finished
ね、
any of
見
those
てると
bigger
ね、
skills too. So I'm curious where the extra skills
ちょっと、
points are going right now. They're not really going
ああ、やばい
anywhere.
な。
Yeah, I mean they could have
ああ、
popped
や
the
ばい
death
な。
actually.
3、4の方がい
I
か
mean,
れてる
I
わ。
don't
やっ
understand
ぱりこうなるんか。
why
やっ
you'd
ぱり
save the
か。
points and then not use them, but both
3、
teams
4の方がバン
seem
バ
to
ン
have made that
死ん
exact
でってます
choice.
ね。
So maybe they think they're going to get a quick
カオスすぎ。
grab, use a running charge here. We do
ま
see
た
two
しても、
carriers working on the arc right now. Which
ま
one
た
has
しても
got the
この
quicker
絵面
hands?
だ。
It's 60 GT with a clean getaway.
取られた。
That getaway train is moving fast.
60取りました。
Starting to notice that are low
ま
health,
ずい。
starting to work on the carrier. They might
これは
get
ま
a
た取られ
takedown,
るでしょ。あ、
but
もうほ
there's
ら。
a way bigger problem here, which is that
もうダメ
it
だ。
does look like
60
60
しかいない、
has
ほ
done
と
it
んど。
again. A truly dominant mid-brawl fight.
もう
Not
残党
perhaps
狩り
by
み
as
たいになっ
much
てま
as
すよ、
last
も
week, but decisive nonetheless. I think 60 GT has just
う。
about got this locked up as you see frowny face, frowny face, frowny face.
ひねり
frowny face,
潰
frowny
され
face.
ました。
After frowny face going back to the side in red, it's cleanup mode here.
やっぱ
Yeah, no,
尋常じゃないぐらい差があるな。
really started to have all those blue marches in the middle just absolutely start dominating.
賢いですね。
I immediately jumped over to the rally
私
tab
は
just to
また
try
して
and
も
check
この
if,
ベッ
okay,
ドを
maybe
外
they've
しましたよ。
already transitioned to the
3、4。
structure game to maybe grab their points there, and unfortunately for PX34,
PX34 に
They just started
貼っ
signing
ちゃい
them
ました
about
けれども、
20 seconds ago, so they were not ahead of the game when it comes to structure game. They
ま
did
た
get
半
this
分
round
になり
right
ます。
back, which is nice, but PX34 was sending
それ
rallies
でも俺は諦
the
めない。
whole time that they were in the middle as well and
No.
dominated that middle fight.
順
Yeah,
調
it was
に
3
No.
rallies.
PX34 was sending
あ、
rallies
混
while
ん
the
で
mid fight
て
was
ます。
happening?
60GT, excuse me. 60GT was sending those rallies.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
燃料ポイントでもな、負けてたもんな、序盤な。なおかつ棺も取られてしまうという、この力の差ですね。本当に不思議でしゃあないですね。
During the middle fight and won so convincingly. This is starting to shape up like the last week's match was.
指揮官は同じで、装備も関係ないというところでね。
Yeah, I mean,
このコインって使い切り
if the
使い切りです。
open field fighting we saw by the Shrine of War
だ
is
ったは
an
ずです。
indication, and there, by the way, is hard push by 60.
シーズンごとに分かれてるんですよ、確か。だから次に引きつけなかったと思います。間違ってたらすいません。
Dude, I wonder if like PX34 just forgot to do hard push. Because here's the other thing. Now that the arc is in the hands of 60GT,
でもな、
if PX34 doesn't spend some points, actually 60GT, since they spent all their points, they could just sit there and they could let PX34 cap. They could max out on 10 points and be unable to do anything. Right? They have to use a skill.
ああ、やっぱな、こうやな。もう今はもうこうの時代やから、もう皆さんね、ほんとね、一番に覚醒するべき指揮官はもうこうだと思います、私も。
I just don't know why they're not focusing on the one thing they had to do there, which is get the arc.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they did focus, and 60GT is just that much better, and they were able to dominate that middle fight. I mean,
yeah,
it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see them actually.
この辺はしっかりと守れてますか？あ、でもラリー来てんのか。キュロスだ。キュロスだ。ヤドビカだ。ヤドビカ YSS だ。
How close those mid fights are. Like they look one-sided at the end, but they're really a lot closer than you'd think. Like a small number of marches can actually tip the tide of a battle pretty significantly.
Sure, I could back that up, and I will say that, you know, the majority of the marches that were coming from the middle from 60GT were pretty battered up, but I will also say I did see quite a few pretty full marches as well. I think those were probably the later reinforcements, but still, I mean, we've got a lot of
建物はもう
6 rallies going 3
もうイーブンになってるのか
all
な
the ones for PX34 are currently hitting, and again, trying to do what they can to alleviate the cost that this lost arc gave them. Trying to get these structures, and the altars are the way to go, but they do have 60GT does have a pretty solid defense, having been able to come back, refresh their marches, and holding a pretty solid Jadwiga here. I have to think that, you know, one thing to think about, we did have the newer commanders for the infantry commanders come out, Pakal and Chuck, and both of them are not able to be used in this matchup.
2000ポイント差？あ、棺入ってないのかまだ。棺。どうしてまたキープ作戦？今回は。あれ前回違うかったよな、確か。
Yeah, it could be. I mean, here's the thing, right? If in a world in which you have infinite choices for commanders, and everyone who's filling the garrison can have garrison captains, and you don't have to worry about equipment.
次やな。
You could have a Jadwiga Theo for when the garrison is above 50%
これで
health,
3000
so that
ポ
you're
イ
getting
ン
the
ト
benefit
入
of
る
all of her
と
skills, and then when you get below 50% health for the garrison,
5000ポイントぐらいもう差が
Jadwiga YSS
できちゃってるのか今この状態で。早いな、もう20分ぐらいだからな、まだ。
That's what I would be thinking about in this position, but it looks like they are sticking with the Theo. The debuff clear is really good. I mean, the AoE is quite strong.
ラリー飛んでる。
Yeah, I mean, you're not looking for like, you know, the trades are really irrelevant, and this thing obviously being,
yeah, you're right.
You know, you don't have to heal for the most part. You don't have to spend your resources to heal this stuff. So I do see a lot of Theodora across the map. Now, I did see a YSS primary garrison.
結局前回はさ、オーウィリアムが多くて、で、セルフレッドを使ってデバフもね、ちゃんと当ててて、みたいな感じなんかそれがね、 60は多かったから、
Yeah.
Although I did see an Ethelfled garrison there for just a second, but now
なんかコー・ウィリアムがもうめちゃくちゃ強いみたいですよ。この範囲戦、この野戦、むちゃくちゃ多い大規模野戦的なところは、まあ、コーもウィリアムも範囲攻撃だし、で、どっちもね、火力もりもりで、ね、コウがね、デバフがあるっていうのがね、防御力 30% 減少させるっていうのがね、あれがね。
This just feels way too much like the last match. As if like we just I don't know, maybe there's nuances to what's changed about how the teams are playing this. This just looks like we're running back what we did last week here with the exact same strategy and no surprise, the exact same outcome is what we're seeing on the screen. So PX
でもすごいな。SL フレットもさ、
right? And the things are even now, but
こんな使える指揮官やったんやなって。
For whatever reason, this just feels very similar to
で
again.
も SL って真っ先に狙われるからさ、
What are they
使いた
going
く
to
ない
do
よね、あんま
differently
り。
to get a different outcome?
正直
Is
ね
it。Einstein who said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result?
I'm not sure who coined that
Who
phrase, but
said
it
that?
definitely
Chat,
is
you'll
a
have to help us out.
solid cliche.
Who said that? Yeah, but it feels like we're just running it back, man. The same strategy from last week, right? Which
SL やっ
I'm
ぱ
not
多いな。
quite. I
SL3
want to
人いる
see.
し、
I want to see
パッ
something
と見。
new and different and innovative. And
今の
oh my
絵で
gosh,
も、
this
絵
Shrine of
面でも。
Life, 60GT is just taking full ownership of this thing, saying
Yeah,
thank you
and-
very much. I'll take
yeah, you'll
those
notice-
continuous occupation points of 80 per minute.
Yeah, I mean, you'll notice they keep taking the outside lane
一
structures.
箇所の戦場に SL は絶対何人か入ってきて
because
る
they're
か
going to get stuck
ら、
getting ready to go to the middle as soon as this carrier decides to deposit the arc. Now, this is
そういう
a
こと
little
なん
bit
じゃ
of
ない
the
です
same from
か。
last week. So remember last week we saw
おそらく。
60GT on that first arc.
まあでも先に殺されるだろうけどね、ほん
Thought
と
about it,
ね
they。just grabbed it. This time they have held it for
まだ持っ
9
とっ
minutes.
た。これはギリギリまで持ってそうですね。あと6分、次、左上を見てもらうとね、わかるんですけれども。あと6分以内に次は入れないといけません。キュロスが来てますが、ここはゼノビアでしっかりと守れそうかな。守れそうですね。左下のところがね、ずっと取られてんのよね。ずっとじゃないか。一回取り返してるけど、また取られてるね。60GT が強すぎるな。JST との戦いがもう実質の決勝戦みたいな感じでしたね。こう見ると。トーナメントの組み合わせがこううまいこと運が良くて、PX34 は決勝まで来れたかなっていう、まあトーナメントってそんなもんです。そういうね、仕様ですもんね。まあ夢がある。トーナメントには夢がある。きっちりその順番にもうね、勝ち上がっていくってわけじゃありませんから。
今の流行りはポール・ウィリアムなんですね。
This could be really weird. So, interestingly, oh yeah, they backed off.
コー・ウィリアムが多いですから。
So this is really weird. So what they might want to do if they wanted to hold the arc longer.
野戦といえばコー・ウィリアム。まあ、火力要因としてはね。すごい。ここでなんか面白いことになってますね。 あれこの人ってもしかしてこの前配信来てくれた人じゃね？違うかな。小さい小さい馬さん。
俺こうチンギスで使ってたダブルウィリアム育てきれない。笑。
小さい小さい馬さん、さっき映ってましたけど、あの人多分この前過去のヤマタクの配信で来てくれてはったような気がするな。
Yeah, I mean that could have been a full 15-minute reset. That would have been
60 ずっとだけ装備ついてるか、わらわら。
On the topic of devastation, this open field fighting, I guess they're trying to prevent
ほんまになんかそんなぐらい
the altar. So I actually kind of like this
確かに
play.
そんぐらいなんかそうわかるよ言いたいことはそんぐらい差があるよねっていう。
A defense by PX34. I actually love this.
まあね、その結構巷ではチンギス・ウィリアムがまあいいですよみたいな、まあ、ゼノビアと戦って結構いい結果出してますよっていうのはあったんで、まあでも降雨が出てからあれですもんね、多分そのさ話題になってた動画ってさ、多分降雨が来てない時の話じゃなかったっけ。でチンギス・ウィリアムがあれ降雨っていつ来たんだっけ。あれ降雨とウィリアムって同時に来たんだっけ。いや違うな、降雨とヤドビカが同時に来たんだな。そうだそう思い出した。降雨とヤドビカが同時に来たから、やっぱりそうだよ。なんかチンギス・ウィリアムでめちゃくちゃ名前が通ってるのが、降雨が来たことによってなんだろうな、変わってきたのかなっていう。まあチンギスはさ、あいつはさ火力というよりかはさ、まあ、ちょっと戦場滞在系やん。どっちかというと。まあ言うたらリチャードみたいな感じで、そういう感じで使ってるじゃないですか、チンギスって。火力モリモリで組むんだったら、まあコーブ・ウィリアムなのかなっていうね。そういうイメージなのかもしれない。
You said Edward Rally, and then I looked, and it was actually an Edward Rally. It's Edward Nebu.
まあだからほんまに敵を倒すっていう意味での組み合わせ。KVK とかはさ、ぶっちゃけその敵を倒すってことも大事だけど、その自分の部隊の重傷者をまあできるだけ出さないっていう部分も考えないといけないんで、まあ、リソースの戦いっていうのがあるから、それを考えないんだったらコー・ウィリアムがいいやんっていう話になってくるんじゃないかなと思います。
2 structures on the bottom lane to the 1, and then that means that the garrison on the bottom lane is just not going to have enough reinforcements coming in.
占領がもう総崩れですね、もうこれね。あ、そうでもないか。いや、1箇所だけだった。ずっと取られてますね、一番左下の建物ね。あ、なんか喋ってる間に棺が入っとりますね、もう。
リチャード重傷多くなるからあんま使いたくない。わら。
まあ、リチャードね。
30人メンバー全員の使用式関東系が今日みたい。
確かに。まあでもリチャードは結構その戦場滞在率で言うと結構、ね、優秀ですからね。まあただその
that's not going to do you much good if you're PX34 needing to
ハイカキンリチャード、ハイカキンリチャードじゃない、なんだった、なんだ。そう。
Yeah, this is definitely
重症がやっぱね、出るんで、あんまりそのおすすめはしないですよっていう話ですよね。
People better be going to the middle unless they want to be late. Unless they want to be late, and if you're late,
リソースに余裕がね、あればね、いいんですけどね、リチャード。やっぱ生存率高いってなってくるとね、なかなか厄介やから。
How can PX34 be on time when they've still got to defend their stuff? And that's the problem, is that they're going to finish defending this. All these marches are going to be low, and we're only halfway through the match. Maybe most people are teleported up at this point, but they got to reset their marches before they go mid, or they're going mid with weak marches, and that's not going to work.
左下どうなったんですか？
Yeah, I think they made a really hard PX34 made a really hard push on that Sky Altar on the bottom.
左下見せてください。
What 60GT's been doing?
Swift
あと4分。
This is bad. That's really bad.
To me,
that's so bad.
I don't want to say desperation, but
that is desperation.
To me, that's I need to get everybody to the middle, and
yeah, it's desperation.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
メタルキングさんいるわ、また。
Here's why that's desperation, because the thing that you need in a mid brawl is more punch in your mid brawl. And if you're having to use something like Swift
日本人多分一人しかいないよね、メタルキングさん
which is that we
しか。
actually can't logistically manage our timing to get everybody
頂
to
上
the
決
mid.
戦、
So I'm
日
not
本
saying
人で
it's the
出場した
wrong
の
thing to do, but I'm saying
メ
it's
タル
the
キングさん
average
だけなんじゃね
because every one of those
マ
points
ジで
should, in my estimation, be needed. In fact, we know
見たことない
they haven't won
他に
the mid fight against these guys yet. But every one of those points is needed to win the mid fight, and instead, they're using those points just to show up in time, right?
インタビューしてみたいな、なんかこういうのも。
Really big problem.
Yeah, and I want to say that's a 3-point play because it's a map skill. So that's 3 points that could have been used for quite a few buffs. I mean, there's so many buffs 3 points wise that you could use to kind of use in the middle, or even on the back end, you could have used Insatiable Desire with that. I mean, you could have done anything.
よく頑張ってくださいました。
Like making your troops move faster for a little bit when there's no fighting at all on the map. They do have an extra building, although they just lost it as soon as I said that. They had an extra building there for just a second, and now the map is knotted up. The points per minute are favoring PX34 by just 80 points per minute at the moment, and that has to do with that
Speaking
life that just blue.
たくさんいる指揮官の中で何が一番意外でしたか？僕はキュロスです。
Sure is, man.
あー、意外な指揮官ですか？
Are we gonna see what just happened the last time about 15
でも確かにキュロスはあんまり
I
あれよね。
don't know.
キュロスでラリー打ってんのってあんまり見ないから、今回確かに2回ぐらいラリー見ましたね。それで言えば意外っちゃ意外かもしれない。でもなんだろうな、他になんかあったかな。
The last couple times, I don't know why you'd be anywhere but in the middle to try to just make that happen. In fact, you would almost be pulling
もう SL はね、前回で結構、意外と SL デバフとして使ってる人多いやみたいな話にはなってたんでね、今回意外かって言われたら、まあもう前回おーってね、もうびっくりしちゃってるんで今回はまあ SL、あ、また SL がおるなみたいな感じですけどね。キュロスかな。
I'm just not sure. I'm curious about some of the selections of marches for the red team. I'm seeing a lot of mobility primary. Not
まあ宿イカとかね。
they're just out in the middle of the map doing some
宿イカとかはね、
you know, double C
まあ
primary.
意外っちゃ意外かもしれない。
Jadwiga primary.
Yeah.
On the open field. It just
doesn't
doesn't
make
make
any
sense.
sense, does it?
Yeah, it
Especially
really
when you're
doesn't.
losing fights. Like you need
始まっ
punch.
たわ。
And 60GT, by the way, saying, okay, we've done you a favor here.
イン
We
ギスは柔ら
waited
かい。
till
確か
51
に。
seconds before arc spawn so you could get some more people in the middle. Let's fight now. And now there it is. Now, I don't get this either. PX34 So, and they're just getting eaten up.
お、カーン多めだ。
They're going the
今回カーン多めじゃね。
yeah,
And
60。
to the death by 60GT. I mean,
Okay.
their PX34 is not in the position. 60 GT is. They just use to
Yeah.
the death on every
確かに
single
エ
one
セ
of
ル
their
ト
marches.
ライ
So
ア
they're
ヌ
right
ス
on
が
top of all the red marches
エ
already.
セルの裏はトライアヌスなんだ。
PX34 walked away.
さっきもコメントでありましたけ
They,
ど、
they have a gap to close to the
マ
temple,
ジでエセル多いわ。
but they can't because they're in the middle of.
Yeah.
エセルの
So if they walk
く
through the
せ
temple,
に
they're going to
エ
get
セ
eaten
ル多い
alive.
っていう感じ。
This is
そ
just
んな感
unfolding
じ。
in a way that is very
エセルってもう
favorable
無
for
課金
60GT.
用の指揮官みたいなイメージがあるから、
Yeah.
That's just not good.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
mean,
not-
well,
it's
and
not
you
a
don't want to
good
be
recipe.
marching when you have two to death. You want to be attacking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So both
Exactly.
teams have to
ほ
do
う
that.
ほ
And
う
PX34,
Oh, so many red
エ
marches
セル
back.
they're just in a really
ア
tough
ル
spot
テ
here.
ミシア
And no rallies, by the way. Just to give the chat
あ、
a
ネ
little
ブ
bit of
と
an update
か
on
も
what's happening behind
エ
the
ド
scenes here.
エドワー
I
ド
will
と
say
か
too,
ネ
so,
ネブとかもおるけど
60GT
めっちゃ
obviously
少ない
showing
し
the dominance,
サラディン
grabbing
とかも
the
ちょこ
arc,
ちょこ
not losing with this,
武田とかもお
but
る
kinda
けど
hanging out a little bit, dropping the arc as well.
少ないね
Pop
ほん
across my screen.
アルテ
PX34
ミシア
has
はでも
moved the fight towards behind
割とおる
the temple.
No, but this
But
fight's
they're
over,
split.
man.
It's
It's
split.
over already. Do
ボ
you
コ
see
ボ
it?
コやんもう
Yeah, oh yeah.
I
ほ
mean,
んで
it,
また
it's over already. I
どん
think
どんもう
60GT
ポコポコポコポコ敗戦していくやん。もうほら
on the
見てください
the
よこの
Cyrus Isle, please.
灰色の
They're just
顔
cleaning up
面
the
を
weak
した
marches now.
アイコンのこの流れを
Yep, blue wave is coming north now and has already taken out all the reinforcements from PX.
もう右側にしか行ってないからほとんど
Two rallies up.
もう左から右
Those are
へ
actually
左
four
から
60GT.
右へ
So
どんどん流
they're
れていき
already
ます
starting to send their next
あ
rounds for the next
Wow.
phase of the game, and
またして
PX34 is
も
still you
Yeah.
こうなって
I mean,
し
this
まっ
is why
た
marches that were like late to the middle are
もう
just
こ
like
の
as well
光景を見るのは何回目なんだろうか
accomplish nothing. Oh,
前
that's
回か
rough,
ら
man. What a rough
変わっておりま
situation
せん全く
for PX34 there. Although,
いやもうこれはもう正真正銘
like,
本当の強さ
these teams have all made
なん
it
じゃない
further
か
than we
な
have, right? So there may be
They're still going to
strategic
the middle, too.
implications that we
I don't
don't see,
get it.
and I just want to caveat
まあ
everything
戦
we're
略が
saying
なんか
by
あるんでし
the
ょう
fact that it's so easy to be a
きっと
commentator and
Yes.
100 times harder to be a player in the actual situation itself, right? Because we have the luxury of not having to actually do anything with our troops. We're just
Yeah.
looking at things, right?
We're
And
just watching.
observing things. And heck, like, you know, it's easy to comment, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But I feel like you made a really good
壊滅しました
observation, which is that, like, PX34 needs to be bringing the most
24000
combat effective marches they can to the
ポイン
mark.
ト
Forget bringing
そし
arc
て
carrying marches. And by the way, I think I only
34
saw
が
one
16000
arc carrying mark.
ポイント
I saw like one
1000ポイント
uh,
そして今回
right? So I
3500 で
think they were already making that adjustment.
3500 棺
But
で
I just think they didn't have the bodies.
もう
And
1万ポイント
when they
以
walked
上
away from that fight, and
差が
half their team walked away and half their team got eaten.
以上です
I mean, all it takes is little things like that to be
Aye.
the difference between a win and a loss. I mean, that mid fight was actually, I don't know if you feel this way,
今
but
一
I
番優
actually think
秀
it was closer than some of the other
う
ones.
ん
It lasted longer for
まあ
sure.
ラリーは
And
ね
I will say
チ
PX34
ャンド
is
ラ
making
を
some
結構
adjustments
後ろに
on
持
the
ってくる
outside
こ
lanes.
と
They're
が
already sending some
多い
players to the outside because they've seen the book, right? It's take the arc,
で
pretty
も降
devastating.
雨は
and
ほ
then
んま
go ahead and rally the outside structures and take them as well, and that makes PX34 on the back
あ
foot
っ
trying
た
to get
け
their structure
うん
back, and then they take the middle structure.
あっ
and then
てら竹
they're
だっ
already
て
on
でももう結
So, I
構
mean,
だい
they're
ぶ
making some adjustments
だい
that
ぶ
really
もう
drew
一昔前
really drew
KVK3 と
the
か
typical
昔の
you know, next step
この辺でもう
which is, okay, so they're in a
めちゃくちゃ
position
優秀だ
to
優秀だって言われて
you
て
know,
ね
uh,
征服シーズンがまだなかった頃の
what can they do
話
to get back into it? 'Cause there's
あの時代はマジで合ってる武田なんかもう
to do, and I don't wanna have to answer that
最強みたいな
Yeah,
感
so
じ
here's what I would do.
になってましたよね
No, no, no,
で
you
なんか
ask
部
me the
族
question
点
this
が
time. I'll answer it.
息してない
You,
consider
you
み
figured
たいな
out my strategy, Grothian, which is to ask the hard question to you.
懐かしいですね
I'll answer it myself,
あ
and
の
listen
時
to
代
your
は懐
answer
かしい
and add on to it. But anyways, I'll
うん
go first here, which
KVK2
is,
で
okay,
報酬
you're
が
down
部族点なん
a
ですけ
lot of
ど
points. You're down over 10
マジ
points.
その
What can you do? With 19 minutes
KVK2 の報
remaining,
酬マジでなんなんみ
the
たいな
Sark gets scored right away. And I don't think they're gonna
まあ
do that. So,
KVK1 の
they
報
may
酬
exit
も
the
なんなんって
realm
なっ
of
てたけどなもう
this
す
being
で
an
に
achievable victory, right? But one option is
何だっけ
if
名
the
前
arc were to get scored
カー
right
ル
away,
大帝
there
や
were two
なんや
more
ねん
arcs.
カ
I
ール
don't
大
think
帝
it's
って
even possible at this point. So, okay, let's actually scratch that plan.
情報修
What could you
正
do?
来たけ
You
ど
could 1 minute rally some of
何も
these
変わらん
cities.
かったな
Hail Mary play.
現状
You Hail Mary, 1-minute rally, each of these cities. You bring a bunch of troops here, try to get the Ark, bring it to the Shrine of War, full send on Shrine of War. Hope for the
でも
best.
さ、でもカール大帝ってね、なんかね、カール大帝しか持ってないスキルがあるんよね、確か。なんか死者を減らすみたいな、そんなスキルあったよね。
I mean, that arc is as good as gone.
うん、だからね、
Going to the Shrine of War.
まあ一風変わってるんだけども、もう論外
to
み
do
たいな。
something, but there's
ゼノビア YSS 来てからあったけ、ああ、そうですね。ゼノビアが、そうだね、ゼノビアが来てからだね。いやいやいや、いやいや、悪口ではないです。事実、事実。
And saw it turning very quickly. The rally should have been out like a while ago.
そうですね、なんかその指揮官の歴史的に言うと、そのあれよね、アッティア武田が来てもうめちゃくちゃ強くて、でそれに対策するためにゼノビア出して、でその対策でなんだっけ、まあ、対策になってんのかな。まあでも降雨を出したんだよね。もうゼノビア止められねえみたいな状況で降雨を出してきたあたり、今そんな感じ。でも降雨ってなんかでもそんなつもりで出したんじゃないような気もすんねんけどな。まあでも現状はなんか降雨チャンドラでね、ゼノビアに対してねラリーかけてるっていう状況があるから、そうなっちゃいましたよね。降雨がもう超優秀でゼノビア対策になってるっちゃなってるのかなと。ああでもそれでもゼノビアはもう全然まだまだ現役ですよ、バリバリ。そうですね、次の弓の指揮官でちゃんとゼノビア止めれるやつ、そうですね。まあ、出してきそうですけどね。うん。順番的には今回アカルと CJG で、まあでもいまいち使われてないけど、今は歩兵の指揮官出してきたと。あれかな、多分ゼノビアで歩兵強くしすぎたから、次の新しい歩兵指揮官はまあちょっとジャブ打つぐらいで、弓でね、次の弓の新しい指揮官でも多分どでかいのがやってくるんじゃないかな。チャンネルバンディーマジでめちゃくちゃ聞いてきますね、皆さん。いやもうね、明確に分かりましたらですね、言ってます。もう私はそういう人間ですので、そういうことはちゃんとね報告して、まあ今までもねそういうのは多分報告してきてるはずなんですよね。だからもう今回はもうね、もうぜひともね、分かったらですね、すぐさまにね、まあツイッターからまずは最新情報はツイッターで、あとチャンネルのなんかさ、フリートークみたいなのがあるんですけど、なんかそれ全然活用できてねえなと思って。でもなんかチャンネルのフリートークって皆さんなんか通知行ったりするんですかね。よくわからんのですよ。さあもう勝負は決まってしまっている。8000、もう今で8000ポイント差で、そうね、やっぱ棺でまあ1万ポイント差以上はつくから悲しいけれども、 34
That would have been very difficult. And I think the reality
負
is
け
that
まして
60GT would have seen that
60が
right?
I mean, I would
勝利
hope so, but you would have thought that they would have had a garrison in that obelisk, considering the ark was sitting right beside it, and they
バン
didn't.
チ
So,
崩しなしでいきなりなっちゃうん
That's
です
true,
か
man.
you know, you can
う
only
ん
plan
もう
so
ね
much before you start dropping some
寝
things.
て
Maybe
起きたら
one
なん
thing
か
that
な
could
く
have
なって
dropped
て
60GT in the finals during regular season
もう
four
なんもなかっ
seven
たっすね
They lost the
急
arc
にな
very
くなりました
simply
ね
to JST. JST was able to grab that
う
arc
ん
away from them. They thought they had it in the bag, and they were able to go ahead and
なん
grab
か
it
もう
and
使
roll
え
it
ま
all
せ
the
ん
way
みたい
back
な
down. I think they
ペ
still
ー
ended
ジ
up
にな
getting it,
な
but
るんよ
it took a long
チャン
time
ネ
to
ル
get
に
an
飛ん
extra
だら
20 minutes to get it. It was pretty rough.
使えませんみたいな
Man,
状態に
oh,
な
that Hail
なっ
Mary
とるんよ
was
今ね
so
今も
cool.
なお
That would have been such a cool
ほ
play.
んまに
Yeah,
も
oh
う
yeah, that would have changed the game. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that did not succeed, and 60GT
いやわ
is
からんですよも
really just pushing
YouTube 側の気
pushing
まぐれで
everybody
アカウン
back
ト
at
す
this
べて
point.
蹴
I
られ
see a
る
lot
配
of
信者顔
PX34 half
つらわらわ
half
ら
health marches
地獄
going
よ
up
もう
towards the Shrine of War here. Maybe with a rally
あ
coming
YouTube
behind
って
very
そういうもん
shortly.
ですよ
You know, this match and this type of
棺ってなんで
match,
自分まで持
I
っていってるん
should
で
say,
す
it's
か
really all about
あー
timing.
ねそれね
One thing to think about
そう
too
な
is
んですよ
that,
ね
that
それ
grab
なん
by
です
the
けど結構
by
前
the
に
red team there, that did reset
俺
the
も
arc
なん
finish.
か
So
近く
now
で
15 minutes
いいと
later
思って
again.
て
So that's
No
pretty
more
much
arcs.
it.
最初
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I didn't
次
see
持
they
っていく
picked
場
it
所
up.
ね
Yep.
Ah,
そうそれで
geez.
近
So,
く
I mean,
に入れてたんだけれ
yeah,
ども
at
なん
this point,
か
it's 100%
遠くに入れ
guaranteed
た方
victory
が
for, 60GT,
いいよって言わ
right?
れて
Like, well, what could you do as PX34? You could take all the buildings?
あれ
And the
結
arc?
局何だったんだっ
Nah.
け
Yeah. So I mean,
There's-
I've had
They let it happen once, but there's no way they're gonna let that happen again.
ポイン
right?
ト
Because
変わ
I
るわ
still
けでも
think
ない
that
し
PX34 should just go for it.
あれ
They
ポイ
should
ント
just
変わるん
rally
だ
the
ったっ
cities
け
here.
これあじゃあ何だったっけなやばい忘れたなんかでも理由
Whatever,
聞い
like
た
the
んだ
building
けど
stuff. I don't know.
yeah,
Kind
I
of
mean,
running
yeah.
the same thing you did last week.
でも固定だよね500ポイントずつ増えていくだけだから3000から次3500になってで4000になって4500になるんだけど次が出るごとにねなんでだったっけな
PX34 captured that arc? I mean, this game would be
あれ
close.
かな
多分棺が出ないようにするためじゃない
PX34
で
still
すか
doesn't want a mid brawl against these guys, so it's a big problem.
次が出ないようにするために
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, PX34 is still trying
次
to
が出ないようにする
get these structures from 60GT, but
あ
they
多
just-
分それは
they can't get past their own structures because it's
あ
so
れじゃない
heavily
その
aggressed by 60GT
なんていう
rallies
の
with 20
出
marches
ないよう
turning
にする
towards
ため
the sky
多分
altar
キープ
top
あ
lane
棺をキープするっていうところで言えば
with at least a few marches there to
それ
help
ですね
form 60GT holding their own on their own
建物に
Yamataku
入れないでずっと
garrisons
持っ
there with
ている
proper
っていう
reinforcements and good to go there. So I
で
mean,
あと
it's
11
the
分
it's
は
more of the same here
持っ
with
てられ
8,000
るんですよ
delta right now in
左
favor
上の
of
タイムで言うと
60GT and another 3,500
ただ
points
別に
sitting
なん
there
かその
just hanging
棺を
out
さ突っ
for
込む場所
60GT just waiting to be captured and they don't
わざ
really
わざ
know.
自分まで持っていかなくても
And then they're gonna drop it and it's
いい
GG.
んじゃないかっていう
Double C
でもね確かにそのキープするんだったら自分まで持ってった方が
届け終わらないと真ん中に出ないから
その
problem with Yadiga. Easy to knock
なんていうの
out captain relative
自分まで持ってった方が
I mean,
安全キー
we see the
プ
same thing over and
キープ
over,
環境
right?
としては
60GT walks over,
整ってるから
PX34
まあ
walks over.
なんかその中途半端な建物のところでキープしているよりかはキャンプがいっぱいある自分のところ
I mean,
でずっとねキープしてる方が安全だから多分だからじゃないかな
今日登録者たくさん増えましたねおめでとう
あ本当ですかありがとうございます
You know everything that's happening, and right now what I'm watching is 60GT owning 4 altars at the moment with 9 minutes left and owning the arcs. I mean, again, it's they have the same stuff to work with. It's not like one team's got a 10-player advantage. It's just a matter of putting those pieces on the map where they need to be when they need to be there. And again, timing is everything. I can sit here all day and just talk about what I'm watching and how dominating the 60GT is on PX34
建物が
and why that's happening, but there's no way to sit here
あ
and
と8分
say
だ
that, okay, right now this is happening because this is happening. No, right now
もう
this is
次の
happening
日次はあり
because
ませんねこれは
they decided to make a move here as part of their strategy. And
いやあっぱれですわ60GT さん あなたたちは強すぎた。
PX34 gets one of their altars back. A solid grab there. Get the points going again for that building. Man, I'm just thinking, okay, what are the takeaways for your average player who's playing Ark of Osiris and is getting ready for the next Ark of Osiris League? And I will give a short plug for the official Rise of Kingdoms channel, which we're casting
ほ
on.
んまにそれな。
If you aren't already subscribed to the channel,
ほんまにそれな。もうやばい。
to show your support.
全部消えたから。
Enjoying the casting today and enjoying
もう思い出全部消えたんよ。
also
もう猫まんまの時の思い出もそうやけど、
again, subscribe to the
もう俺の8年の思い出が全部消えたんよ。わかる？わかりますこの悲しさ。いやもう何回もこれ愚痴ってるけど、もう言ったところでしゃあないからやめよう。やめよう、やめよう。
なんであんなにボールが早く溶けてくのか理解ができん。
Just a different way of telling me how to
ね
not lose.
怖いよね。なんかもうよくわからんよね。
I'll jump in. I'll do this one. I actually want to answer this one because
ライキンログインできない。
something that really tilts me. It
なん
kind
で
of
でしょうかね。
really sets me off.
そんな
is
こと、
when
そんな
the
はず
team
は
is
ない
all
ですよ。
doing something and a few people are not participating with the team. And I think if you're PX34, just how do you find more ways to win the mid brawl, right? There's a few options. One, spend more points. They didn't use hard push at the start, and they didn't spend more points to win the first round. I don't know what the calculus was there. Maybe they just forgot to activate hard push at the start, and then forgot to spend.
いや、新人 YouTuber なのにね。ありがとうございます。
spending
こ
more
んな見
points
てい
is
ただいて。
something I would be looking to do if I was PX34. The
今、
second thing I'd be looking to
登
do
録
is
者
to
数何
actually
人ですか？
commit more marches to the middle, and that includes all the people that were off to the side
増え
doing
たんですか？
whatever they were doing that strategically I
Oh.
can't uncover what that was. All those people need to actually be with the team. And
100
the
人
third thing I
超
would
え
do
て、
is I would at that
さら
point,
に
if
15
you
名。
still can't win mid brawls, consider pulling some of the people that are in the garrison.
2
to
日、
go to
たったの2日で、
Yeah.
2日だったっけ ?3 日だったっけ
Again, I think that just goes
あ
back
りがとう
to
ご
what
ざい
we
ま
were
す。
saying earlier. Like we're watching this and we're like, okay, well, this is
うん、
easy.
ちょっ
Just
と
get
ね、
the
頑張っていきますよ。もうここもうゼロにされてからが
If you do that, you're going to be losing all your
勝負ですから。
because PX34
そっからですから。来金もそうだし、YouTube もそうなんですよ。大事なのはゼロにされてからなんですよ。やっぱりね、弱っちいものはもうゼロにされたらもう引退するんですけど、やっぱちゃんとこう強き者はですね、ゼロにされてから這い上がっていく。
This is a grand finals
こ
stage.
こを楽しんでいこうと。
I think that they've got the capability. I believe
来銀も
PX34 can manage that.
YouTube
I
も
think they can figure out
ラ
their
イレ
timing.
イ、こ
They
れ
can
が原
figure
因。
out
人の
what they
配信
need
を
to
密
do
に
to
配信み
get
たい
to
に
the
してる
point
か
where
ら
they
か
can
な。
get to the middle.
また頑張ろう。
But I think they've gotta commit
ま
to
た
the
ね、
middle. If they can't figure
ま
out
たバンさ
how
れ
to
たら、
commit to the middle, they gotta stop
まあ
that.
多分このミラー配信が原因なんじゃないかなと
I don't know. Right? But they have
思い
to
ますけど。
execute on
いやでも
something
ね、そんな通知来てなかったんよ
more
ね。
than they are now.
著作
And
権で
I think
ダ
it
メだ
should
っ
be
た
mid
ら、
brawls. Like, I don't think that's
ち
wrong.
ゃんと通
I
知
think
来
they
る
just
か
gotta
ら、
find a way to bring
ライブ
more
視
in.
聴
And
中
once
の
they
人数
brought
が新
literally
人になる
everything
前とすでに
that they
近
could
い。わ
possibly
らわら。
bring, I mean, at that point, perhaps they are just being outplayed.
あり
in
がとうご
the
ざいま
field,
す。
right? Like maybe they are just being thoroughly outplayed with coordination around who's hitting what and
新人
potentially
YouTuber
kill
の
orders of what marches you focus
山
first.
拓です。
Like that is also entirely
高評価
possible,
チャンネル
and
登
could
録
explain the difference. But the fact that we saw at
切
least
実
8
に
marches
願います。
not in the middle makes me
本
think
当
that
に
they
よ
could
ろしく
find
お願いし
20
ま
or
す。
30
お願い
marches in a way
し
to
ま
get
す。
even more marches to the middle on time. That's my guess. And if
目
you're
標
short
は
30 or 40 marches
チャン
in
ネ
the
ル
middle,
登録者数
I don't know how you'll ever win.
1000人です。
Yeah,
私はこの目標に向かって頑張っていきたいと思います。
Again, I've seen Toast, and he was the one that
ぜひ
grabbed the obelisk, by the way, and
応援していただけると
PX34 a chance to
嬉しいです。
possibly grab that arc away from 60GT, but
ゼロからの
I've always
1000
seen his
人。
marches on the field.
もうこれを達成できたら、
by himself swarming the obelisk on the bottom lane for
もう俺は
60GT
何も
right
怖くないと思うんですよ。
not helping the garrison.
俺は何でもできると。
The mid fight, the last two mid fights
そう思えるんじゃないかな
in
と
this match alone,
思い
he
ま
was
して、
out with two mobility
チャレンジ
primary
しておりま
marches,
す。
outside the middle lane.
ちょっと規模がちっちゃいかもしれませんけど。
Stuff like that. I think there's a lot of PX34
まあでもゲーム実況、しかもライキンっていう世界ですからね。だいぶちっちゃな世界で1000人っていうのはもうね、大きいと思いますよ。個人的には。もう全然関係ない話してますけどね。
場外歌多かったですね。わらわら。
あ、もう思い出の品ですから。あれは。替え歌はもう頑張って作ったんですよ。あれはちょっともう一回上げるしかなかったですね。モチベーション的に。なので替え歌の再生リストも作りましたんで。概要欄にありますんで見てください。他にもなんか上げれるやつなんかあったかなと思って漁ってたんですけど、なんかいまいちなかったですね。なんかもう昔に上げてるやつってなんかその時のなんか情報だから、なんか今更上げてもマジ何の意味もないっていうので、まあなんかそういう意味で言えば、まあその辺の動画は別になくなってもよかったんだけれども、なんか思い出系の動画消えたのマジでね、もうね、絶望ですよね。さっき言ってたその猫まんまの動画とか、高住さん、懐かしいですね。高住さんが言ってくれたその猫まんまの思い出の動画とか、マジで消滅ですからね。もうなんとかアカウント取り返せないかなっていうね。
20 minutes earlier or whatever. Like it's stuff like that that make that difference. So that JST 60 GT match that we saw 2 weeks ago, I think that was one of the premier matches in this grand finals, just because I think those are the top two right now that are really people are looking to copy and mimic, and it's not easy to do because there's a lot of fluidity to what both of those teams do. JST and 60 GT really kind of having the same type of strategy on timing, on making sure that they're spreading their opponent out and making their opponent feel like they're always trying to catch up.
ありがとうございました。
I think
眠たいですね、なんか。
The series will be decided, but I think they could bring a really great fight.
明日も仕事ですね。頑張っていきましょう。
I'm just gonna see how it goes. They should take some big risks. I honestly think this was an important week for them to take big risks too, right? But I don't think we saw that this week. I think we saw 60 GT really dominate.
私のベッドコインはまた半分になりまして、もう意地っ張りなのは良くないかもしれません。次の3回戦目ってあるんかな、これ。もうこの2勝先にしちゃうから終わり？あ、終わった。オシリス頂上決戦終了ですかね、これで。SL フレットです。棺も占領もラクダも全部 60GT が勝っています。完勝ですね。はい。ありがとうございました。寝ましょうか。めちゃめちゃ見てるやん、ライブ。38000って前。そりゃ200人溢れるわ、一瞬で。無理やんな、200人に入るなんてな。あ、これ勝ったかな。俺ちょっとめっちゃ不安やねんけど、俺ね、試合始まる前にね、ベッドコイン半分だった。試合始まる前にね、
お疲れ様でした。
集落にラリー打ったんよ。結果ドン。これ勝ったの？ ちょっと待って。何これ。死んでるやん、もうこんなん。どういうことこれ。残存9000。残存9913。やば。いかつ。ギリ勝ちましたね。146万9000人おって、野蛮人集落レベル12ですね。山宅の義経曹操は、ちょっとあれですね、微妙っすね、やっぱりね。装備が弱いからかな。危なかった。またなんか俺。よかった。ちょっとこれ貼っとこうか。奇跡の勝利。奇跡の勝利ラリー。あれ？これか。シェア。軍団シェア。奇跡の勝利バラ。山田君もっとちゃんとしろって言われてたよな。すいませんね、こんな危なっかしくて。じゃあまた、皆さんですね、また明日、配信しますんでね、ぜひとも見ていただけたらなと思います。よいしょ。頑張っていきます。ありがとうございました。また明日は顔が出せるようにね、カメラ直しときます。よいしょ。ではでは、チャンネル登録、高評価よろしくお願いします。バイバイ。おやすみなさい。